Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So we do know that we have got until Thursday to finalise all our incomings, and of course we have got until the 2nd of September to negotiate the sale of players. So potentially we do know that further more investment is needed in the Manchester United squad. Obviously we do know that we've got now 3 players on the board this summer. We spent £148 million on Daniel James, on Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. By the way, Harry Maguire has been his shirt number has been revealed, and he will be wearing that number 5 shirt. Rio Ferdinand wore that shirt for Manchester United, and I do believe Harry Maguire should be giving his debut in the Premier League this Sunday against Chelsea. Obviously the stories broke out about Harry Maguire yesterday. It got fully announced. Manchester United of course have got him for £80 million. Obviously that's world record fee for a defender, and obviously now he's the most expensive defender in the world, and obviously the fee has exceeded the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018. He did complete his medical over the weekend, did Harry Maguire, and he has signed a 6-year contract with the club with an option of a further year, and I think the deal is worth up to around £200,000 a week. So obviously now we have got that experienced centre half in. Solskjaer's priority will be to get a couple of new additions in that midfield. For the majority of the summer we've been in search for a right winner, but obviously I'm very sceptical about Manchester United of course bringing a right winner in. But I do believe we're going to have a better season this season, without a shadow of a doubt. We'll have a better season this season because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously we didn't win any silverware. We failed to qualify for the Champions League, but we've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But I do believe our expectations this season will be to probably finish in the top 4, maybe win some silverware, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to exceed these expectation levels, and I think we'll probably finish in the top 4 this season, maybe finish in the top 3, maybe even finish 2nd, but I'm still very sceptical about Manchester United winning the league, and maybe we won't make any more signings now. That may be it. That may be the 3 signings Manchester United may make now, but a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. Since Alex Ferguson's retirement, I think £968 million has been spent at Manchester United, so that's a hell of a lot of money that's been spent at the football club. We do know players have come in, and of course players have gone, but £968 million has been spent over the last 6 years, since Alex Ferguson's retirement, so that's a lot of money. But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players anyway. We've just spent a substantial amount on Harry Maguire. In recent years we spent £75 million for Lukaku. We spent £89 million on Paul Pogba. Actually, Harry Maguire is not only the most expensive defender in the world, he is the 2nd most expensive signing in Premier League history, and that is just behind Paul Pogba. And look at what we've done in recent years as well. We spent a substantial amount on Di Maria. That we paid just under £60 million for Di Maria under Louis van Gaal. We paid £50 million for Wan-Bissaka. We paid £50 million for Fred last summer. So we have got a history of spending big on players. But Solskjaer initially said was not intending on we was not intending on overspending on our transfer targets this summer. And quite a few people said at the start of the summer, we should be sensible in that over our recruitment this summer. But Solskjaer, give his full analysis, on this current transfer window. He hasn't become infuriated. He just said, we need to be patient and all that. He was, discussing how much, of a difficult window it is, because it's always, it's not always easy, to get the players that you do want, especially when you can't offer, any Champions League football and that. But throughout the course of the summer, there's been a lot of speculation about players coming in, and of course there has been a lot of speculation about players leaving. But I do believe Solskjaer has spoken to the vast majority of our players this summer. But Solskjaer, is still in the process of rebuilding, because there's only 3 players now that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. There's still 11 players here from the Jose Mourinho era that is inheriting. There's still quite a few players here from the Louis van Gaal era. Obviously, there's still Matt here from the David Moyes era, and there's still around 4 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. era. But obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's made it clear, he wants to build a team, to win trophies, because he's looking to build a squad, worthy of the club's mystery. And Solskjaer did say at the start of the summer, he worked out his transfer strategy, and he wants to bring young players in that can grow, develop, and emulate into superstars. But I think we're going to have a much better season this season, but I'm still very sceptical about Manchester United winning the league and that. So it's good that Harry Maguire's been announced. He will be wearing that number 5 shirt, which is fantastic. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre-back partnership is obviously now going to be Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof in our back line. But we have spent £148 million so far this summer, but we're still looking to do further more investment before this window does shut on Thursday. Now, I want to give you some additional information in regards to Christen Eriksen. I also want to give you the latest news in regards to what's going on with Bruno Fernandes. Keep you up to date, of course, of what's going on with Romelu Lukaku. So there's lots to negotiate on this video. So we'll currently start over Christen Eriksen. I haven't spoken to you about Christen Eriksen in a long time. So I think it's looking very imminent that Christen Eriksen is going to be leaving Tottenham, because I think he does want to leave Tottenham. And I think, Tottenham are aware of this. And I think, as obviously, refused to sign a new contract with Tottenham. I think he's only got a year left on his deal. But I've just been reading recent reports, and it does say, we're working on, possibly, signing Christen Eriksen from Tottenham. And I do believe Christen Eriksen's representatives are working on, negotiating a move for the player. Now, we do know Real Madrid have been linked to him, for quite some time, and I do believe, he wanted to make the move to Real Madrid. But actually, Real Madrid's first choice is Paul Pogba over Christen Eriksen. So their actual preference is Paul Pogba over Christen Eriksen's is Real Madrid. Now, obviously, Paul Pogba is valued at around £150 million. Obviously, our valuation, seems to be the stumbling block of Paul Pogba, making his proposed move to Real Madrid. But for the entirety of the summer, we do know Real Madrid have been in for him. I think his actual preference has been Real Madrid as Paul Pogba's. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has, spoken about, Paul Pogba quite recently, and he's confident that Paul Pogba will remain at the football club. And I hope, he remains at the football club and all that, Paul Pogba, because we still know how much of an imperative player he is. Even though in the majority of his 3 years, since he returned from Juventus back in 2016, he has been very inconsistent for Manchester United. But we have seen glimpses of his best form, and when he is at his best form, he's one of the best midfielders in the world, is Paul Pogba. But I would still say in this market, at this day and age, he's worth up to around 150 or 160 million pounds. The reports coming out the other week saying that we initially wanted 180 million pounds, so we was basically demanding more than double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016 and that. But I think it was initially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to build a side around Paul Pogba and that. But regardless what happens with Paul Pogba anyway, we're still looking to bring a couple of new additions in that midfield. Obviously the initial plan is, to obviously get 2 midfielders in that can replace Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini, because obviously, they've both left the football club. But, Real Madrid have been in negotiation with Manchester United. Paul Pogba confirmed, was it a couple of months ago, that he's seeking for a new challenge. He publicly admitted that he wants to leave the football club. Don't get me wrong, I think we need to sell players, because he is problematic players at the football club. But with Pogba, I think, he will succeed at Manchester United, because he's done well throughout pre-season. He did well in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. So he actually, is a very, very imperative player. But I did say, based on the extortionate amount we've put on him, this could be the stumbling block of him making his proposed move away from Manchester United. Real Madrid have done good business this summer. They spent over £300 million on 5 players. I think they've obviously offloaded a couple of their players, so they've generated, some funds. I think they've generated around £100 million. Obviously, I think they've been working on, offloading the likes of James Rodriguez. But Real Madrid's preference is Paul Pogba over Christen Eriksen. So now with Christen Eriksen, I do believe he's predominantly an attacking midfielder, and I think he would be very beneficial for Manchester United. I think we would see him as a good replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, he's 27 years of age. He's well Premier League proven. Don't forget is Christen Eriksen. I think he's been at Tottenham now over 6 years. I think reflecting on his impressive performances, I think Christen Eriksen has won the Tottenham Player of the Year award twice. I think he's also won the Danish Football Player of the Year award on 5 occasions. And I think Tottenham just paid around 11.5 million for him from Ajax back in 2013. I do believe he's made 206 appearances in the Premier League for Tottenham, and he has scored 49 goals. I do believe Tottenham are demanding an extortionate amount for the player, because Tottenham deep down know how much of an imperative player he is. I think last summer Tottenham wanted around £130 million, but I do believe we're looking to get him for maybe more half of that fee, maybe. So maybe looking to get him for around 60 or £70 million. Whether Tottenham are willing to accept this, I I do not know. But Christen Eriksen is well Premier League proven. He's also, I think, he's 6 foot, so he's tall, which is very beneficial. And I would be excited about the prospect of him, coming in our midfield, because we do need improvements in that midfield. But reportedly, we're working on getting a deal over the line for him. The Metro actually said, we've offered him a 5-year deal, Christen Eriksen. But obviously, if no Premier League clubs, can get, Christen Eriksen by Thursday, I think, teams like Atletico Madrid are going to try and go in for him and get him for the cut price, deal of around 50 million pounds. But I do believe we was in for Christen Eriksen quite some time back. We've been like tentatively linked to him. He has obviously been one of our priority targets, but we have been in for him here and there. It's been mainly Real Madrid, that have been negotiating with Tottenham over getting a deal over the line. But yeah, so obviously Tottenham now are aware that Christen Eriksen's desire to leave Tottenham, so basically now Tottenham are in the market to try and find a replacement for him. And obviously the two players they've identified to replace, Christen Eriksen is Bruno Fernandes and Giovanni Lo Celso. So basically, Tottenham are working on getting a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, we do know for the majority of the summer, we do know it's been mainly Manchester United that have been in for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, it stirred more suggestions up, and it had fueled more speculation when Bruno Fernandes, of course, brought down in tears following Sporting Lisbon's 5-0 defeat to Benfica. Now, obviously, that's the second time in space of a week that Bruno Fernandes, of course, has broke down in tears. And obviously reports emerged out last Friday that Bruno Fernandes left Sporting Lisbon's training ground, to after a meeting to finalise a transfer exit. So I do believe Bruno Fernandes and his agent, met up with the boss of Sporting Lisbon. He met up with the president and the director, of course, to finalise his transfer exit way. And I think Sporting Lisbon have come to accept the fact now for quite some time that he does want to leave Sporting Lisbon to rejuvenate his career and, of course, take his footballing career to the next level. But Tottenham are still looking to do more investment. They've signed 2 players this summer. They smashed their transfer record for Tanguy Ndombele, who they signed for £65 million. They also got Jack Clark from Leeds, but he's been loaned back to Leeds for this season. So Tottenham are working on getting the deals over the line for Bruno Fernandes and Giovanni Lo Celso. But actually, Giovanni Lo Celso has been one of their main priority targets. So with the Bruno Fernandes saga, I was reading a lot of reports last week, and obviously, reports were coming out over the weekend, saying that, Tottenham, obviously, flown out to Portugal, to go and meet up with Bruno, to go and meet up with Sporting Lisbon's president Federico Varandas, to thrash out to possibly thrash out a deal for Bruno Fernandes. So Tottenham have been in talks with Sporting Lisbon to sign Bruno Fernandes. Reports did say last week that actually Bruno Fernandes' preference is to join Tottenham over Manchester United and all that. But Tottenham have all of a sudden come back into the equation, because it's been mainly Manchester United that have been working on getting a deal over the line for him, for the majority of the summer. But I do believe Sporting Lisbon's valuation has seemed to be the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes, making his proposed move to Manchester United, because obviously, Sporting Lisbon did initially say the value at £70 million. Obviously, for the majority of the sum, we've only been willing to pay around £50 million for his services. But I do believe Sporting Lisbon, would accept a fee of around 63 or 64 million pounds. And that, you got British journalists, coming out the other week, saying that Manchester United, were never in there. Have not been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer, but we have been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer, and he has been one of our main priority targets, of course. And I would be excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes, playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think they're blending very, very well together. But now Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United, according to recent reports, if they are to be believed, it's looking basically his move to Manchester United now is in jeopardy, and I think it's more likely now he'll end up, making the move to Tottenham and that, because I think he wants to make the move to Tottenham. Obviously, he came out last week, and this was stemming from Di Marzio, and he's a very reliable Italian journalist. Is Di Marzio, especially when it comes to Italian transfers. He can be reliable at other news. Sometimes he has got things wrong as Di Marzio, but he said last week that Man United were close to signing Bruno Fernandes, just like he did with the Harry Maguire situation. He said the same thing about that. But obviously Bruno Fernandes has informed his Sporting Lisbon teammates that he's expected to leave this summer. But he said last week Man United have an agreement in principle with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes, and obviously Bruno Fernandes' agent has obviously been to the UK quite a few times. Obviously he's looking for the best possible deal for his client. But I still believe Tottenham are, Tottenham's bid is still insufficient of what Sporting Lisbon want, because I think Tottenham are keen on getting either Giovanni Lo Celso or Bruno Fernandes for around £55 million. Obviously, that figure is obviously not too insufficient, because you've got Real Betis that are open to selling Giovanni Lo Celso, but they want around 70 million, and you've got obviously Sporting Lisbon that want around 63 or 64 million pounds for Bruno Fernandes. But obviously, it was looking like the other week, that he was going to be coming to Manchester United, because reports came out that weekend, not this weekend, just gone, the weekend before, saying that we'd actually reached a transfer agreement with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes, and it reportedly said a fee that had been agreed of around 62 and 63 million. He was set to fly out to the UK for his Manchester United medical ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. But obviously we know this didn't materialise. But I think that game on Sunday is obviously Bruno Fernandes' farewell appearance for Sporting Lisbon. But I do want him at Manchester United. A very, very good player. Only 24 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Can create chances. Can score goals. His tenacity is good, his work ethic is good, he's good from set pieces, and don't forget, he scored 31 or 32 goals there last season, did Bruno Fernandes, I think, in 50 odd appearances. He has still got around 4 years remaining on his contract with Sporting Lisbon. His initial release clause is around £88 million, but obviously we're not determined to go anywhere near that figure. But it's been mainly, we've been considered the favourites to sign him, for the majority of the summer. Sporting Lisbon haven't been that reliable this summer anywhere. They haven't been reliable, they have been playing hardball, but reflected back a couple of months ago, Sporting Lisbon assured that Bruno Fernandes was going to be going to Manchester City, so it was looking like he was going to be going to Manchester City at that point. Obviously, he didn't go to Manchester City, because obviously, initially, Manchester City had withdrawn their interest in the player quite a few times. Liverpool have been in for him throughout the course of the summer. But I did initially say Bruno Fernandes may want to go to Tottenham, because Tottenham can offer him Champions League football, and obviously, we can't offer him Champions League football, so that could go against us in that aspect. But he is predominantly an attacking midfielder, is Bruno Fernandes. But we have been in for him for the entirety of the summer. And with the situation with Paul Pogba, that's not having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United and all that. So Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United is definitely not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. But Federico Varandas, he's had his overarching view. He's come out and he's spoken about the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, and he also has revealed what fee any clubs would have to pay to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload them. And they do want in the excess of over £68 million and all that. They were Sporting Lisbon. Also, the Sporting Lisbon boss has obviously come to accept the fact that he does want to leave. The boss did say, was it a couple of weeks ago now, that Bruno Fernandes could leave. He said that his future is still up in the air. But he did give his analysis throughout the course of the summer. And he did say clubs have been keen on signing the player, but we've actually been considered the favourites and all that. But this is what I've become infuriated with, the chase over Bruno Fernandes. And I think, like I said earlier on in the video, it's been the valuation that seems to be the stumbling block. But with the Harry Maguire situation, I know we've got him on the board now. Before we agreed to fee in that, the valuation seems to be the stumbling block for him, for the majority of the summer and that. But we're finally, just decided, to meet, Leicester City's valuation and all that. But like I said, we still need a couple of new additions in that midfield. We definitely need a couple of new additions in that midfield. So yeah, Tottenham are basically looking to get Bruno Fernandes in as a potential replacement for Christen Eriksen, because Tottenham's priority is to recommend a number 10 in, so they want to get an attacking midfielder in, so they've identified Bruno Fernandes. We do know they're also working on the deal for Giovanni Lo Celso, and I was actually reading reports from the Daily Record yesterday, and I do believe it also came from the Sun, I think it was. It did allegedly say that Tottenham had agreed a £55 million fee with Real Betis for Giovanni Lo Celso. This is what it reportedly said. And reportedly said Tottenham would pay around £47.6 million up front, with £7.4 million in bonuses. But we do know, Giovanni Lo Celso has been one of Tottenham's main priority targets. Tottenham have been in negotiations with months with Real Betis over getting a deal over the line. Obviously, don't forget, Tottenham had a £52 million bid, turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso, was it over a month ago now? Obviously that's too insufficient, because I think Real Betis, like I said, are looking for somewhere in the region of around £70 million. Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around £88 million and that, and he's only 23 years of age. He's only about a year younger than Bruno Fernandes. But with Giovanni Lo Celso, I do believe he scored 16 goals last season for Real Betis. Obviously he spent the majority of last season on loan with Real Betis. Don't forget, Real Betis did get him from PSG last summer. Obviously they paid an initial loan fee, then
then they had the option to buy him, and obviously Real Betis did buy him permanently back in April, I think for a further 20 million pounds. So if Real Betis do sell the player, PSG do benefit from it, because I do believe PSG do get a percentage of any sale and all that, because obviously Real Betis did get him last summer on loan and that, but he is only 23 years of age. He is Argentinian, but Tottenham have been negotiating with Real Betis for several months now, and I think Giovanni Lo Celso wants to leave Real Betis, so Tottenham have seen either Lo Celso or Bruno Fernandes as a potential replacement for Christen Eriksen. So obviously with Tottenham, this is the best Tottenham team I've seen in this generation, for a lot of years. They have got really good players of Tottenham. Before they did sign Tanguy Ndombele and Jack Clark, didn't do any transfer activity in the last couple of windows and all that. But Pochettino, he's a really good manager. He's well Premier League proven. I think he's been at Tottenham now over 5 years. But obviously, I do believe his expectations will be this season is to probably win a trophy with Tottenham, because he's got a good pedigree as Mauricio Pochettino, but he hasn't got that proven pedigree of winning any silverware and all that. Because he hasn't won anything yet as manager as Pochettino. He hasn't won anything at all, but he's still done really well with Tottenham, because he's good at developing players and that. Tottenham did well last season though. Obviously they've got Champions League secured for this season. They got to the Champions League final last season. That was their first Champions League final, Tottenham's, but they have got a really good team, so they're looking to do further more investment. But like I said, they've also inquired about about Paul Dybala as well of Tottenham. They've also been in for Ryan Sessegnon throughout the course of the summer, but Tottenham I've tried to get Christen Eriksen a new contract, but obviously he's not willing to sign a new contract, because obviously he wants to leave Tottenham, because obviously he's only got a year left on his contract term and all that, but he's going to cost you probably in excess of around 70 million. Daniel Levy and Tottenham were demanding around 130 million pounds or something. And Daniel Levy seems to be a hard negotiator, especially when it comes to Manchester United and all that. But we've done business with Tottenham in the past. Do you remember when I think we bought Bergtoff from them? Obviously, bought Michael Carrick from them, back in 2006 and all that. So we have bought a few players from Tottenham in the past. And we've been after quite a few of their players, in recent years, and that, at one point, we was in for Danny Rose, but Daniel Levy is definitely a hard negotiator. So, like I said, guys, that's the latest news to update on that. But analysing our midfield as it stands, isn't good enough. Okay, we've got Paul Pogba when he's playing at his best, like 2 players in one. But look at our other midfielders. You've got Matic. He's too slow. He's too inconsistent. Is Nemanja Matic? Obviously, he's too inconsistent. He's too slow, too ineffective in that midfield. Isn't getting any younger. Of course, aging up. I think he's can't remember how old he is now. Is he 30 or 31 years of age or something like that? But he's too inconsistent. I know we've seen glimpses of how good he can be. He did well in parts at Chelsea. He's done well in parts at Manchester United and that, and he's well Premier League proven. But he's too slow now. You've got the likes of McTominay, Fred, and Pereira in that midfield and all that. Don't get me wrong. I think to be fair, I think the likes of McTominay, Fred, and Pereira. Don't get me wrong. I think they're much better solutions than Matic. I think they're more mobile and better on the ball than Matic, but I'm still very sceptical about McTominay, Fred and Pereira, because I still don't know if they've got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United. To be fair to them, they all did do well throughout pre-season, but looking at that midfield, it isn't potentially good enough. And obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, 3 players have obviously departed the football club. Valencia left at the end of last season. Obviously he served 10 years at Manchester United. Obviously we know Ander Herrera left. Obviously Marina Fellaini left and all that, but I said we need to sell players to maybe help us generate funds as well, because if we sell Diamond and Rojo, because they're 2 players that definitely do need to leave the football club, I think we can generate around 35 or 40 million pounds for their departures, maybe something like that. So maybe then if we could sell Diamond and Rojo, we'd generate half the money of what we paid for Harry Maguire. So we paid 80 million for Harry Maguire, but if we could sell Diamond and Rojo, we could generate half of the money back of what we paid for Harry Maguire, because Diamond's he hasn't been given the chance at Manchester United. He's endured a very difficult time. I mean, Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained. So there is problematic players at the football club that do currently need to be sold. And so there is still quite a lot to address in the squad, but now this window does shut on Thursday. It shuts on the 8th of August, this Thursday, so more business does need to be done. And I did initially say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to get all the players that he wants this summer, because if he doesn't, you can say the board have let him down, because initially the board assured that there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. But I do believe Solskjaer was recently talking with Ed Woodward about the lack of business in this transfer market. But of course Ed Woodward has been overseeing our transfer business. You know, he's been working on, of course, getting deals over the line. But actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference was, I think, at the end of March, was to get our transfer business completed by the time we initially, went on pre-season. But yeah, I think we're going to have a better season this season anyway. You know, I think everyone, more or less everyone will get the chance in the Premier League this season. You know, the young players, the fringe players, the experienced players, and more or less everybody on pre-season, got the chance. Like I said, I think the only disappointing player really on pre-season, was Nemanja Matic, because he was very, very poor. But the players that was impressive throughout pre-season, I think Mason Greenwood, was very, very good. He's going to, I think Solskjaer's assured him more playing time. He's going to get promoted into the first team this season. Obviously, if Lukaku does end up, leaving the football club, obviously, with Chon, he's the upcoming future. I think he'll get his opportunities this season. A few people said maybe we should orchestrate on loaning, some of the upcoming players out, because it may be beneficial for their future. It'll obviously, gain them a bit more experience. I think McTominay, Pereira, Fred did really, really well throughout pre-season. We're seeing glimpses of what good signings Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka have proven to be so far, because they did fantastic in pre-season. I do believe Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka will get given their Premier League debuts on Sunday, as well as Harry Maguire. With Daniel James, I've still got a slight element of concern about him at the moment. I still think he's a prospect, Daniel James, and he still needs time to develop, and I think he needs to improve on his crossing a bit, and he needs to improve a little bit in the attack of third of the pitch. But I think he did well throughout pre-season. With Wan-Bissaka, like I said, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career, which I'm very, very glad about. He's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career, but I think Wan-Bissaka is going to succeed at Manchester United, and I do believe he can be our fullback for the next decade. But them two did fantastic well in pre-season, and I think the majority of the players did well in pre-season. 6 wins out of 6. Well, you could say if you want to include the penalties that will be AC Milan, it's 6 wins out of 6. 12 goals scored and only 3 goals conceded. So what a pre-season Manchester United had. But I can see the vast improvements now in the squad. There is still improvements needed, but now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has now got that indication after that AC Milan game what team he's going to go with on Sunday against Chelsea. Obviously, it will be Harry Maguire and Lindelof as a centre-back partnership, I should presume. It will be Wan-Bissaka at right back. It will be Luke Shaw at left back. So I've got a slight idea of what team Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is currently going to go with. But we do look much better now in the attacking third in the pitch. We seem to be a bit more pace now in that attacking third of the pitch, and that's obviously something we lacked last season was that pace, and this is why last season we wasn't scoring enough goals. I think we only scored 53 goals last season in the Premier League, which was a huge disappointment, but we lacked that pace last season. But I think now we do look much better in that attacking third of the pitch. Don't get me wrong, I still think we need to have a bit more experience in that attacking line, don't get me wrong. But like I said, like I said, we spent an extortionate amount this summer. Don't forget, we've got players on big contracts as well. You've got Rashford now who's on 200 grand a week, potentially rising up to 300 grand a week, based on the bonuses. You've got Sanchez, he's the highest paid player at the football club, he's the highest paid player in the Premier League. You've got De Gea, he's agreed a 6-year contract. I don't think his contract has been announced yet, but it should be soon. He's agreed a 6-year contract with around, £117 million over 6 years, but he's on 375 grand a week. You've got Paul Pogba on 290 grand a week. I do believe didn't some of the players' wages get cut with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. I know Paul Pogba's wages got cut by 25% and all that, but he's still on a substantial amount. You've got Martial that's on a substantial amount. You've got Lukaku was on over £200,000 a week. So we have got players on big contracts. So I did initially say it'd be beneficial for us to offload some players, to obviously help us generate funds, also free up our wage bill and that, because we have got players on a big contract. But like I said, £968 million has been spent since Alex Ferguson's retirement. I was reading the recent reports, and it said now with the Harry Maguire signing, £968 million has been spent. The £968 million also includes of what we spent under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. But like I said, he was recently talking about our recruitment policy with Solskjaer, because obviously, we didn't get on in January. We didn't get our number one targets last summer. But like I said, 3 managers have been sacked, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. 3 managers have obviously been sacked. Obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies and that, but a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. I think I read a report and it said we've actually spent over £1 billion, since our Champions League success back in 2008 against Chelsea in Moscow. But we haven't won much silverware, in the past 5 or 6 years. We haven't won much silverware. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Obviously, that's over 6 years ago now, and obviously we last won the Premier League in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, we didn't win out under the David Moyes era. I think we won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal. Dybala era, obviously, won the Europa League and the League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season. So we have not only we've been a toxic club, but we've also, lacked silverware and all that. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. So I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to succeed at Manchester United. I do believe he is going to. Don't forget, he has proven himself as a manager, because he proven himself in that 3-month period. When he was the interim manager, don't forget, he did prove himself. Obviously, he won a couple of Norwegian titles there with Malta. So he has got the experience of a manager, not really to the highest level. But don't forget, Solskjaer's at a club that he knows inside out. He managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years, so he watched his team in this day and age go and develop, remember, and he did well there. He was a great player under Alex Ferguson for 11 years, and he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But no one is gonna, no one's gonna ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never gonna be the team of what we, of what team was under Alex Ferguson. For what 25 years of success or something like that. That we did currently have. But I still believe, we're going to be back, to being a competitive elite level football club. And some certain players will have reservations about coming to the club, because we've been inconsistent for so long now, and obviously we're not in Champions League football. But some players still may want to come to the football club, because we are still a massive club. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're the most successful team in England. Historically, 13 Premier Leagues, 20 all in all. So certain players, still may want to come and it's been proven Harry Maguire's come to Manchester United and all that, so which is very, very good news. But we need to build on that, and now we've got to get at least one midfielder, and I think we need 2 midfielders, but I think we've got to get at least one midfielder in. Obviously, like I said, if Lukaku leaves the football club, we're probably going to need a replacement for him as well. But I'm very sceptical now that Man United will make more signings. I honestly think, I don't think it's currently, going to happen and all that. So we'll talk about Romelu Lukaku now. As I did give you my update about Romelu Lukaku yesterday. Now I do believe that Lukaku was training with Anderlecht yesterday. His actual former club, his Anderlecht, as he waits to leave Manchester United. Because obviously Lukaku's blatantly made it clear that he does want to leave Manchester United. Because obviously now he's served his 2 requirements at the football club. And obviously we do know, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. And obviously, Lukaku's going to find it hard now to get in the mix anyway. We've got Daniel James now attacking line, we've got Martial, we've got Rashford, we've got Mason Greenwood upcoming, we've got Chon upcoming. So Lukaku's going to find it very difficult, to get there in that mix. But I was reading their reports yesterday. I think it was coming from was it Corriere dello Sport? I think it was coming from these Italian sources, and they were basically saying that Inter Milan now have revived their interest in Romelu Lukaku, and reportedly, they've put around the £73 million bidding for the player. And Antonio Conte has given his overarching view on it, and he said, Inter Milan, still remain interested in Romelu Lukaku. So they've now revived their interest, as the swap deal, between Lukaku and Dybala, broke down. Obviously, due to Dybala's, substantial wage demand. So the swap deal between Dybala and Lukaku, obviously now isn't currently going to happen. So obviously now, Inter Milan have currently revived their interest in the player. Obviously, we've said one around 75 or 80 million pounds. So we're basically looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of years ago from Everton, because we did pay £75 million for him. Obviously, there was 15 million add-ons included, which did potentially, rise it to around £90 million. And Lukaku, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract. So we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton. For the majority of the summer, Inter Milan have been struggling to meet our valuation, and that because initially Inter Milan did value him at around £60 million. Inter Milan, I do believe, are under financial fair play restrictions. Obviously, Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players to help them generate funds to meet that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. But obviously, they've failed to do this. But actually now Inter Milan, if they've come up with this £73 million bid, if reports are to be true, and Man United willing to accept this, you could still say the £2 million off the valuation, or £7 million off the valuation, because we've said one around 75 or 80 million pounds. But £73 million, may be accepted. But Antonio Conte has been a long admirer of the player. He's been in for him for a couple of years at least now. Reflecting back when Antonio Conte was the manager of Chelsea, he wanted Romelu Lukaku at that point, but he actually turned down Chelsea, and obviously ended up making the move to Manchester United and all that. And he's actually third most expensive sign now, because obviously Harry Maguire is our second most expensive sign. But if you want to include the add-ons that was involved in the Lukaku deal, you can say Lukaku is still our second most expensive sign. But we'll discard the add-ons and just say Harry Maguire is our second most expensive sign. But obviously Antonio Conte identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. But it was only a couple of months ago that it basically said that the personal terms have been agreed between Inter Milan and Romelu Lukaku. You know, it reportedly said, you know, he'd agreed a contract worth around 180 grand a week, but obviously, you know, the fee has proven to be, you know, currently, you know, problematic in that. And I think Lukaku did say a while back that he described Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world, and he did say he was keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance. But obviously, Lukaku didn't play one game on pre-season, didn't make one appearance on pre-season. There was quite a few players, you know, that didn't play throughout pre-season. Lukaku reportedly didn't play because obviously, you know, Solskjaer said, you know, that he was injured, he wasn't fully fit to play, and I think he did have some kind of ankle problem. So obviously, you know, that fueled more speculation. It obviously fueled more speculation yesterday when, of course, Lukaku was training with Anderlecht. But I think we need to get rid of him. It's very, very essential that we do get rid of Romelu Lukaku because he's one of the problematic players at the football club. Inter Milan have been working on getting Lukaku all summer. You know, Lukaku's spoken about his proposed move to Inter Milan all summer. Obviously, you know, Inter Milan have been in negotiations with Manchester United for quite some time. You know, Inter Milan director even travelled to London, was it about 3 weeks ago, you know, to try and thrash out a deal. You know, Lukaku's agent, Federico Pastorelli, you know, he's held quite a few talks with Inter Milan. You know, he basically said that Inter Milan are desperate to sign. Don't forget, Inter Milan have already had a £54 million bid turned down. That was turned down a couple of weeks ago from Manchester United. They also inquired about getting Lukaku on a 2-year loan with the obligation to buy at the end of the loan, but Manchester United didn't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let him, of course, go on a permanent deal. But like I said, you know, he has been mainly, you know, linked over Inter Milan as Lukaku. Obviously, you know, when the swap deal was alive, you know, between, you know, Dybala and Lukaku, it actually, you know, said that Lukaku had agreed the personal terms, you know, with Juventus, and I think it did say he was set to earn around €9 million a year, which equates to just over £8 million in pounds sterling. And I think that annually equates to a week to around £168,000 a week. So he had said he had agreed the personal terms there with Juventus. But, you know, I think if me talking on Lukaku's behalf, if I had to, you know, choose out, you know, Juventus and Inter Milan, I'd rather would, you know, make the move to Juventus because, you know, Juventus I think could be able to guarantee more success, and I think, you know, and Inter Milan maybe wouldn't. And I think, you know, Lukaku did say a while back, you know, his preference was Juventus because he was excited about the prospect of playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo in the Juventus team. But now the swap deal is obviously, you know, dead in the water, you know, between Romelu Lukaku and Dybala. This is why now Inter Milan have revived their interest. But Lukaku has been at Manchester United, you know, 2 years. He's scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. I think he scored 27 goals in his first season in all competitions. In his first season did Romelu Lukaku, and he was exceptional in his first season was Lukaku, but didn't really replicate this form, of course, in his second season because he's now surplus to requirements in Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, he's well Premier League proven, his Lukaku, and his goal scoring pedigree in the Premier League is absolutely fantastic because he has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League as well. But like I said, I think he just basically, you know, wants out of the football club, and I've got strong concerns about Lukaku anyway. There's a lot of element of concerns I've got about Lukaku. You know, his first touch concerns me. He's a big game battler. You know, he's not really good in the air. He's not very reliable as well. You know, playing on up front on his own because he doesn't really, you know, get enough of them runs in behind. And I think, you know, we definitely need to get rid of the player. But like I did say, based on the extortionate amount we've put on Lukaku, I did say that could be the stumbling block of him make his proposed move to Manchester United. So obviously, you know, there were a few players mentioned, you know, who could replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club. You know, there was talks about Moussa Dembele, you know, quite some time back because obviously, you know, Moussa Dembele is an out-and-out number 9 and he's still very, very young. You know, there was talks about Wissam Ben Yedder a while back saying, you know, we identified him as a possible replacement for Romelu Lukaku. So obviously, you know, with the news about Paulo Dybala now, obviously we do know now he's not obviously, you know, coming to Manchester United and all that. Obviously, we do know it came out a couple of days ago from the BBC, like I updated you on, and it basically said, you know, Man United, we've ended our interest in Paulo Dybala. You know, it got confirmed from the BBC from Simon Stone. It said we ended talks with Dybala and Juventus. Obviously, you know, over, you know, Dybala's extortionate wage demands, also over the agent fees, and also with his reservations about joining Manchester United, because I think he had reservations about coming to the club anyway. You know, he did Dybala. You know, we've only been tentatively linked with Dybala anyway. You know, the links only really only emerged in the last week or so. But Sky News, you know, did reply out earlier the week, and it did put Manchester United fans into meltdown a little bit. There was a bit of credibility in it. You know, I was still sceptical about Dybala, you know, coming in because actually, you know, his preference is to actually, you know, remain in cheering. But Sky News reported out the other week saying that obviously Man United and Juventus had agreed a swap deal in principle involving Romelu Lukaku Paulo Dybala and that. And it reportedly said, Lukaku, like I said, had agreed the personal terms and that, and the deal basically, hinged on, Dybala agreeing to move and that to Manchester United. And it reportedly said he was, set to hold talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future and that. And I think he has held them talks now with Maurizio Sarri, but he's going to be remaining with Juventus. Obviously, he did return to training yesterday, by the way, did Paulo Dybala. He did return to training yesterday, did Dybala, but he actually, I think over the weekend and that and last week, I think he had been withdrawn from training with Juventus until obviously his transfer saga was resolved. I do believe there was a bit of change of scenery, when Juventus, and that last week, did force Dybala, to train alone. Obviously, that fueled a bit of speculation. I think, Dybala then changed a little bit. I think he did say he wanted out of Juventus because he was infuriated and sad, the way that he was being treated by Juventus, Dybala. But now, obviously, the swap deal between Dybala and Lukaku is dead in the water. We've mainly dropped our interest because of his extortionate wage demand. You had Dybala, demanding 350 grand a week. Man United were not willing to pay him 350 grand a week. I think he was also demanding 10 million a year after tax, but Man United were not willing to give him this. But Paul Dybala's agent last week had been in London. He'd held negotiations with Manchester United, obviously, because he was looking to fash out a deal for his client. I think he also held secondary talks about the personal terms, and I did initially say that Dybala's wage demand, covered the stumbling block of him making his move to Manchester United and that, and I was proven right. And also, I think the Juventus director, he was also in Manchester, I think the other week. I think he was also in London discussing Paul Dybala's potential move to Manchester United. But yeah, it was basically It was basically based on the wage demands, and this is why I think this swap deal isn't currently going through. But Paul Dybala, I would have loved him at Manchester United. He's only 25 years of age. Obviously, he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. I do believe he's predominantly a number 10, but can also play as a forward. Don't forget Tottenham quite about his services. Obviously, with Tottenham, they'd have to smash their transfer record to get Dybala, because I think Juventus do value Dybala at around 70 or 80 million pounds. But yeah, very, very good player. And, comparing him and Lukaku, I think Dybala is better. Dybala's goal scoring pedigree in Italy is good. Like I said, Lukaku's goal scoring pedigree in the Premier League is very, very good. But Dybala's lost his place in the Juventus side, but he still wants to fight his place into the Juventus side. He lost his place last season to Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think Ronaldo recently urged Paul Dybala to come and make him move to Manchester United, because maybe Ronaldo believes from his overarching view that will be beneficial for Paul Dybala's career. But in his 4 years with Juventus, he's mainly done well. So I think he's had three and a half good years out of 4 years. He scored 78 goals in 182 appearances in all competitions as Dybala. I think he's he scored 78 goals in 182 appearances as Dybala. I think he only managed 10 goals last season in all competitions. I think in the entirety of his career so far, up until this point, he scored 118 goals. And he has still got 3 years left on his contract with Juventus as Dybala. And I think he's only on around 120 grand a week. That equates to around £6.5 million a year. So him, Dybala, and his actual representatives were looking to get were demanding a £230,000 pay rise if he was, of course, to make the move to Manchester United. But Dybala and Lukaku swap deal now is dead in the water, and of course it isn't going to happen. Now I'll give you the news, didn't I, in regards to Mario Mandzukic as well yesterday, didn't I? Obviously, there's been talks about him, going on in the past couple of days, but like I said, I think we are now set to cool our interest in Mario Mandzukic. Because obviously, with Dybala, rejecting a transfer to Manchester United, but it was only coming out on Sunday. Reports emerged out on Sunday saying that Mario Mandzukic had agreed the personal terms with Manchester United. It also said he agreed a 3-year deal with around 6.2 million a year, which I do believe equates to around £120,000 a week and that. And I think it did initially say that Mandzukic was set to get a 35% increase on his wages than what he was currently on at Juventus. And I do believe it said a fee of around £15 million had been agreed, between Manchester United and Juventus. It reported said that, Maurizio Sarri confirmed that, Mandzukic was no longer part of his plans at Juventus. And I think Mandzukic himself agreed to move away from Juventus. But I think Juventus are unlikely to offload him, without getting a replacement in. But I still believe Juventus do want Romelu Lukaku. I was reading reports, I think it's unlikely, that, Juventus will it was unlikely anyway that, that Juventus, would have included, Mario Mandzukic in a swap for Romelu Lukaku. So I think, it would have been separate, Mandzukic, with the Dybala and Lukaku swap deal. I don't think Mandzukic would have been part of that swap deal. There's some reports saying that, we wanted Mario Mandzukic and Lukaku, Mario Mandzukic and Dybala in a swap of Lukaku, going to Juventus. If it was. So if that would have materialised, both of them players coming to Manchester United for Lukaku, I don't think any transfer fee, would have been involved. But Mario Mandzukic, he's a very, very good player. He's a prolific goal scorer. His pedigree's very, very good. He's been at Juventus around 4 years. He scored 44 goals in 162 appearances in all competitions for Juventus, and I think he's provided them around 24 assists, and I think he's made 476 appearances in the entirety of his career up until this point, and scored 188 goals as Mario Mandzukic. And I think he's quite tall as well, which is very beneficial. But yeah, £15 million is a reasonable figure. Is a reasonable figure. Is £15 million, but reportedly now we have called our interest in the player. But if he would have been our fourth signing, it would have taken our spending up to around £163 million this summer. Obviously, I said if Bruno Fernandes had been his fourth signing, and it is probably going to cost you in around 62 or 63 million at least. That would take our spending up to over 200 odd million pounds this summer. But to be quite fair, I don't think we're going to do more transfer activity this summer. I think the 3 players you've got in, that'll be it. Won't get any more now. That'll be it. So I think we'll have to look forward to January now to probably do more of a transfer activity. I'll be very surprised if we get someone else in, but I just don't see currently happening now, if I'm going to put it honestly. But we can still sell players, don't forget, I think until the 2nd of September, so we can still negotiate the sale of players. But obviously after Thursday, we can't we can't get any more incomings into the football club and that. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, and if you do consider a subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.